Hello, hello, hello. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay. This is going to be a group energy healing where I heal 135 people in 13 different countries, and it will be fabulous. And the general theme for this month is, for both sets this month, is liberate and inform yourself in your life, clear repression, hear angels. But I decided to put up top there and in the title of the live stream more a title that relates to what we're doing today specifically. So it fits within that general theme of, you know, clear repression, hearing angels, all that goodness. But today specifically, we'll work on, wait, let me see, this. Emotional wellness, peace of mind, helpful realizations. So that's today. Thank you for my confirmations. That's very helpful. All right. So let me see. I can talk more about what we're doing today specifically. Oh, and today is July 2026. The triplet set healing 2 of 3. Specifically, today is Sunday, July 5th. I'm sorry, 2026. I hope I said that right. Yeah, 2026, July 5th. And I'm really glad the 4th of July is over. I hope we're done with fireworks in my neighborhood. We'll see. Really, really hope. I've been babysitting a dog for 2 days straight, not wanting to go out and garden because he needs comforting. So let's hope the holiday is over. I'm not a big holiday person, and the 4th of July holiday is probably my least favorite holiday as a pet owner in the United States. All right. Enough of that. So today. Okay. So this may be the most helpful concept for today's healing, and we will have a simple technique that goes with this that I have used before, so it's not new to my veterans, but I think it's always good to do it again. Basically, letting go of other people's issues, uncording their baggage, and having compassion, empathy, and companionship for people in your life rather than taking responsibility for their issues and maybe an accidentally invasive fixing perspective where you need to fix somebody's bad mood, you know, or you need to make sure they're happy today, or blah, 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 or, you know, you need to regulate and make sure they're not, you know, they're being more peaceful and speaking in a more peaceful manner, you know. There's a way in which you can just back up out of that and not, and imagine their baggage and your baggage and just melt cords in between the two. Because when you know somebody, even just as a business relationship, but certainly in a personal relationship, it's very easy for people to cord your baggage, your energy blocks that you're maybe working on clearing, hopefully, or maybe you're just avoiding them for another decade. And it's also equally easy for you to cord their baggage, which, you know, usually is subconscious. You're not meaning to, one would hope. But Yeah, so it's really easy. The doing part, super simple. You just imagine like their baggage as like big chunks of blocked energy and your baggage as big chunks of blocked energy, and you just don't touch their baggage, but you melt all the cords going into your baggage, and you melt the cords of yours going into their baggage. So you do a lot of melting on your end, basically, because you can grow more quickly and evolve more quickly and easily, much more easily, when people are not cording your baggage. But it's impossible to say, okay, world, don't cord my baggage. Because even like a good therapist or something, like a really skilled one, like if you get a good one, they will accidentally sometimes cord some of your baggage. And certainly your partner, who's not a trained therapist, not trained in neutrality and non-judgment and boundaries with emotional issues, it's super easy and likely that many of your loved ones are cording your baggage at any given time. So it's just a nice practice to uncord people from your baggage and melt your cords going to the baggage of your loved ones. And if you don't, then it is harder for you to move forward and feel good and clear and everything. And you might find yourself more and more annoyed with the emotional states of other people, because it's running through you what their emotional state, because you're cording their baggage. So you can uncord it, and acknowledge that, especially if they're grown adults. Like if they're your own 1-year-old child, then it's a little more nuanced. And you can help them to, you can still be separate. That's still helpful. But then you have your first chakra cord to your 1-year-old child, and you can, try to facilitate an easier environment for them, right? Because they're your 1-year-old child. But if it's a grown man that you live with, or your best friend who's 10 years older than you, or, whatever, your parent, they're not a 1-year-old child. So you accidentally or on purpose taking responsibility for their emotional state gets really messy and doesn't work in the way you might want it to. It backfires, basically. So anyway, so the doing part will be super easy. We'll just melt your cords going into other people's baggage and melt anyone else's cords going into your baggage. And say you do have a partner or a good friend of yours who, ideally you would like them to evolve at a faster rate. You would like them to learn how to, unburden their emotions in a clean and evolved manner, and, blah, 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 whatever. The clean way that you can help your loved ones grow more quickly is to uncord their baggage, which is super ironic, I know. But it's just because it's like if someone's standing on a rug and then you're trying to lift the rug, it's really, really, really hard. Whereas if everyone gets off the darn rug, then you could lift it if you tried. So it's the same with energy blocks. If you wanted to clear your blocks, if you could melt everyone off, their cords out and get their energy out, they're not that hard to clear. And so this can help your partner or your best friend or family member grow more quickly, even if they don't meditate, they don't listen to Janet's live streams, they don't consciously think energy healing is legitimate even. It's still a thing where when people get off their rug, they're more likely to move the rug and clear it, right? The rug being the metaphor for baggage. So, hope that makes sense. So that will be a nice thing that we'll do. And I think we're going to do that right up front in the healing within the first, say 10 minutes of the healing. We'll do grounding, and then we'll, uncord baggage. We'll have you melt cords, your cords going to other people's baggage, and melt everybody's cords going to your baggage. As right after the grounding. And then we'll go on with the other 5 essentials, or repair, creative ring repair, chakra repair, and all the back of head stuff. And I probably will include unblocking and repairing the joints in the spine right after I do the back of head stuff today, which I have done before. It's always nice to do that. So that's one of the sort of extras that we'll do, is this whole letting go of other people's issues and uncording. And in general, it helps you get along with other people, and it helps them get along with you better. It's not a magic fix, of course, but it can definitely help, because if you're recording somebody's baggage, your energy gets wrapped around it, and sort of like a candy wrapper, but in a bad way. So then when they feel how stuck they are, they sense your energy first, because you're the candy wrapper, and they're more likely to feel like you are why they're stuck, like it's your fault, because that's just how it feels. They feel your energy at the same time as they feel all this stuck energy they have. So if you uncord their baggage, call your energy back from their baggage, then you're not in that, right? So then even if they're in a bad mood or whatever, it's their storm, it's not your storm. And so then they're more likely to, maybe not in the moment, but maybe the next day, like think about what they went through and not make it your fault, and actually potentially think about it and be like, yeah, I gotta stop getting so worked up about that, or whatever, and it's not immediate necessarily. It's not just like, oh, the very next day the first time you do this, but I have seen it, that it really does. It can, in a partnership or a friendship or a business relationship, it can speed the growth of the other people. So that's that. But and along with that, though, is that idea that you allow people to grow at their own pace. It doesn't mean that you can't decide for yourself if you still want that person in your life or not, or whatever. You still have all those decisions that you can make. But you can't make someone evolve and grow at your pace. That's just not how it works. It can't happen that way. They have to do it. It's like in the gym, you can't give someone muscles. They have to lift the weights and get the muscles themselves. as I've seen. So hope that makes sense. Enough explaining on that one, I'm sure. So then I have 2 more things to explain about what we're doing today. So, we're going to do 2 exercises that are similar to each other in technique, in style, but for different benefits. So it's a really simple technique, and we haven't done it quite this way before. The angels just showed it to me, and I do like it. So, I'll explain it right now, but if it doesn't make sense, don't worry, because we'll just do it, and it's easier to do it, and then you can kind of see it as it happens, or experience it as we do it. But anyway, so the first way we'll do it is imagine balls of colored light, like rainbow colored, some kind of color, say it's blue or pink or whatever, of healthy and gentle, helpful realization energy that's in your subconscious mind that you would like to have in your conscious mind instead. So like some of your subconscious knowledge or information, that it's healthy and gentle, you're ready to be conscious of it. right? So you can imagine it sort of like the mind garden thing where we did before, like there's a section for your subconscious mind, the garden, and then there's a section for your conscious mind, and then you have this little gold flowy barrier between your conscious and your subconscious mind, right? So say, you know, so if you imagine, okay, well, what are the colored balls that represent some helpful realization that's healthy and gentle for me that I'm not yet conscious of? And you imagine, okay, well, it's 2 green balls of energy that are in my subconscious mind. So then you think, okay, well, what energy blocks do I have to clear so that I become conscious of that information? I can become conscious of that information. And then you just imagine those energy blocks in front of you, and then you mindfully clear them. You know, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the way, melt the cords from people, yada, yada, and blow up the blocks, right? So then those green colored balls, which represent healthy and gentle, helpful realizations, pop into your conscious garden, right? So then if you wanted to, if you're able to read energy already or use your intuition, you could spend time thinking, okay, well, the green ball, the first one represents, I think I'm ready to do that project. And, you know, and the other green ball represents, oh yeah, I need to restart that habit that I used to do. That was really helpful. You know, so you don't have to, though, read it in the moment. You can just say, well, good, the green balls of colored energy, which represent my helpful realizations, now they're in my conscious mind. So I'm just going to go about my life and it'll come to me. You know, it'll impact my actions and my thoughts and my behaviors in the way it's supposed to. So you don't really have to read it literally consciously if you're not in the mood. Because once it's in the conscious mind garden, then, you know, it can do its work. So that's the idea. So it's just colored balls, you know, and you pick ones that are healthy and gentle that you know, like say, 4 purple balls that represent these healthy and gentle realizations that you're ready for. And you can say, angels, can you double check that that's the case? And, you know, if they're still there, then that's true. And then you melt your blocks mindfully, and the 4 colored balls pop over into your conscious mind, and you did it. Good job. Okay. So that's that. To help with, you having helpful, positive realizations, like bringing your own subconscious wisdom to your consciousness. At a pace that, is meant to be whatever, so you don't really have to force it. But then the next thing the colored ball exercise will do is for things that you've repressed that would be healthy and gentle to bring into your consciousness, so you're no longer repressing them. And it could just be like, some of your creativity maybe that was repressed, or some level of like personal expressiveness, like say you like dressing really wacky, and that was totally not okay with the family you grew up with, so it got sort of repressed, and then you notice the colored energy, you clear your blocks, it comes to your consciousness mind, and you start dressing a little more daringly. Because that's like the real you, It's just an example, of course. But that's the idea. So it's again colored balls, but the colored balls that you're going to be imagining represent something that's really you, that is healthy and gentle, to stop repressing right now. And, and then you clear your blocks so that it pops into your conscious garden, and so it's no longer repressed. And, you have the angels double check, so you're not unrepressing too much at once or anything. So that's that. That's super easy, right? Colored balls. You play with colored balls in mind gardens in order to help you have helpful realizations, and also to unrepress, clear repression in a way that's you're ready for and would be strengthening and fun, right? Like maybe some spontaneity of yours got repressed, you know, or some motivation to working out. You know, maybe you were like, oh my God, I've been working out so much. I'm so proud of myself. And you told that to a friend of yours. And accidentally, subconsciously, they were like, wonk, I don't want to hear that. You're making me feel so embarrassed that I never work out. You know, I'm so fat and it's your fault for talking to me about it. You know, and so your motivation to work out got repressed. You know, and so you just see it as, you don't know what it is, but you see it as colored balls that are good to bring into your consciousness again, right? And stop repressing, and you clear your blocks, and that comes into consciousness. And even if you don't read it, you know, sure enough, like 4 days later, you start working out again, like you used to, you know, 6 months ago. So that's the idea. Okay, so that's another significant part of today's healing, and super simple to do. So it's always nice, significant yet simple. Okay, so another thing, it's sort of borrowing a term from psychology, which, you know, forgive me if I'm butchering the general gist of it, because I really didn't take a lot of psychology classes. I mean, I got a bachelor's in psychology, but, you know, that's not really an impressive level of instruction when you think about it. I took like one graduate level class in psychology, which was really cool, but, you know, so whatever. But the way I'm going to use the term core issue, maybe I'm bastardizing it, and you could tell me in the comment section if that's the case, but be nice about it. But, you know, feel free. But core issue baggage, what I'm thinking of as core issue baggage is like, say you just have like some baggage that's really underlying a lot of your issues, right? Like say, you know, I really hate my father. That's an example. I don't really hate my father. I dislike him. I haven't talked to him in 3 decades, and I have no regrets. Well, 3.5 decades. I have no regrets about that, and I have no plans to speak with him. But I don't hate him. But that's just me. But say, just as an example, if you hated your father as a core issue, and that then is sort of underlying a lot of issues that you have, other issues, right? So that's a core issue, right? But maybe that one you're not ready to clear. But maybe there's another one, like, you know, I'm ashamed of my body or something. But maybe you've grown so much since you really, really felt that way, but you just haven't fully cleared it. So it's still there as a core issue, right? So those are just examples, but we don't have to read your core issues. In fact, you know, I'm not going to really do that. Obviously, when I'm healing 135 people, I'm not going to read everybody's core issues. And if I were doing that video by myself, I probably wouldn't read them all anyway. Because sometimes when you read them, you trigger them. And if they're core issues, then they're kind of a big deal, big deal, you know. And there's no point in triggering too much at once, you know. It's just makes you feel really screwed up. So the way we will work this is, what I wrote is core baggage that's healthy and gentle to clear right now. H and G is healthy and gentle to clear right now, right? So say you have 7 core issues or 4 core issues, right? So you just imagine them as little piles of baggage. You know, these are my 4 core issues. Don't want to know what they are right now. But say you think intuitively, well, one of those is healthy and gentle to clear right now, because it's time, you know, and it wouldn't like trip me up in my next week or anything. It would just help, you know, give me more momentum even, you know. And double check with your angels. Angels, is it just one of these core issues that would be healthy and gentle to clear right now? And maybe they're like, nope, and they put forward 2 of them. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'm more of a badass than I thought. And you say, angels, can you just remove the core issues that are not healthy and gentle to work on right now, to clear right now, right? And then, so then you have your two piles of baggage out in front of you, which are just energy blocks, right? And then you mindfully clear them. Just you bring red earth energy, you melt cords from people, get everybody's energy out of them. You say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings that are cording this baggage? And you just make sure everybody's out and blow them up, or keep using gold light till they're melted. So that's that. That's what it is. It's melting core issue baggage. That is healthy and gentle to clear right now. So I hope that makes sense. And again, you don't have to read it, and it probably works better without reading. Because then you're like, bam, bam, bam. Get it done, move on. So then... trying to fit all of it. Okay, so then we'll just do some extras, definitely during the wrap up, but maybe some of them I'll just sprinkle in here and there as needed. But just so that we can do these big clearing things, but still kind of keep our flow and momentum and presence, so it's not too much, So the 3-step wrap up, that is right here, this stuff. So recycling lurkers, which are invasive beings that, you've kicked out because you're awesome and you just did some clearing and you're so much more present. But, so they're out of your space, but they're kind of like watching to see if you get stuck again soon so they can come back in. So getting them recycled, clearing stubs, stubborn triggered energy blocks, and doing a blue soak for your mind, which just feels great, and helps with peacefulness and calm. So we'll do that. I really like that blue, especially with my shirt. It's like, woo, I'm floating. Aqua woman. But then some other things we'll do just to make sure, things are rocking, and you got your momentum, would be clearing agreements with invasive beings, unblocking and repairing chakra filaments, which connect your 2 sets of major chakras, physical and astral. And then maybe some extra unblocking and maybe repair if needed, but hopefully they would already be repaired by that part of the healing. But extra repairing in the lower 3 chakras of your physical body, chakras 3, 2, and 1. So those are just the extras that I'll throw in here and there as needed, so to help people rock it out successfully. So that's what we're doing today. That's all. So what else? I have from everybody. Okay, so survey feedback. I do post healing surveys. If you pay for these healings, you are well aware of that. They get emailed, the link to the survey gets emailed to everybody after the healing. Not immediately after it, usually, because I like to put the healing outline in the survey. So then I have to wait until I'm ready to write up that and everything. So it's a bit of a process. So, but within a day and a half at the most, if it's the final healing of the set, you get an email. If you're one of the people that purchased the set and I healed you, you get an email with the post-healing survey link, and then you can click on the link and go and fill out part or all of the survey and send it back to me, right? And I study those results, study what you said, and read your energy based on, as I'm reading the words you wrote, I'm reading your energy. So you don't have to be like super psychic. Just read how you're doing. Just write how you're doing, and if it's different from usual and whatever. you know. But there are people that never fill out surveys or hardly ever, right? And it's not really to guilt trip them because I'm healing 135 people. So enough people fill out surveys, and plus I'm psychic. So it's fine. I can do great healing anybody, even if they don't fill out the survey, right? However, I could do a little better, and it would just be neat if I, if I heard back from, how you're doing, and if it's any different because of that healing. I think I would become an even better healer at a faster rate, because I always want to improve more and more and do my best for the people that, shell out their hard-earned money for these healings, right? So it occurred to me that, maybe some people are kind of overwhelmed by the survey because there's so much writing on it, and there's the whole healing outline in the survey too. Or maybe it flips them out that it's like pretty and they want something that's a little more black and white, because there's this really usually a pretty image behind the words, so maybe for some people that kind of fries their brain, like all the complexity of what they're looking at, or maybe it's because there's so many questions and they just want a box for their name and a box for if they notice any differences, and they don't want the different flavors of questions, and they don't want to see the summary, or maybe they just want like a 2-sentence summary of what the healing was about, and that's it. Maybe the wordiness and the detail of the healing outline makes them feel like self-conscious because they're not, they're a newbie and they don't understand half of what I wrote. So I want to know, if you have feedback to share with me that you would like to share with me about the survey. Like maybe you don't fill it out because blah, 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 blah. Maybe you just don't fill it out because you don't feel like it, which, God bless, that's fine. I have no issues with that. But if there's like maybe a different level of survey, maybe that doesn't have color or doesn't have, that just has your name, a box for your name and a box for what's different, what's the same, and you just write whatever you want and that's that, with no summary, or maybe just a 2-sentence summary of the healing, and then your one box, let me know, because I can, keep doing the more colorful, complex, detailed survey for people, and then other people get the other survey that's just maybe black and white, or it's colorful, but it just doesn't have the healing outline and it only has one question, if it could be just that people don't fill out just because life is busy, and that's fine, but I don't want to make a survey about why you don't fill out surveys, because then that'll just be another survey you don't fill out. So maybe just email me and let me know if you have any feedback. Like, I would fill out more surveys if the survey was just in black and white, or if the survey, you see what I'm saying? But if there's nothing to say like that, then, never mind. So that's my email address. So if you have feedback about the survey itself that I send out, and you would like to let me know, I would like to know. I mean, you just have to be somewhat respectful when you say it, but you can say, whatever, like the color fries my brain, or all the words, make me dizzy or something. I don't know. If you know what you would like, that's different, maybe enough people agree with you, and then there'll be 2 flavors of survey. It wouldn't be too hard for me to make 2 flavors of surveys. So, so that's that. That's all I wanted to say about that. So the promo fever continues in a good way. So there's still the new subscription promo, where if you buy a new subscription, for yourself or a loved one, then if it's a full subscription, somebody gets 2 free sets out of that. And you can email me, I can explain in more detail, but that's the idea. So, and if there's a different promo where if you buy a set of healings for a newbie, a pure newbie that I've never healed in group healings before, then you get a set for free. So you can give that set to them as well. So then you're paying for one for them, but they get another one free. Or you can use that set on yourself or somebody else. So those are the promotions. And if you have questions about that, email me, Janet at jwhealing.com is my email address. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at the few chat healing comments that I do have before the healing starts. We can see and hear you. Thank you. Hi from Chicago. High 70s and very hazy. Interesting, hazy. So just cloudy, basically. Someone says, very excited for letting go of other people's issues. Yeah, it's super useful. It's like you can get good at that, but then later, you know, your loved one changes and all of a sudden they're acting differently and you forget and you're like courting all of it because you're hoping that they cut it out or whatever. And then it's like now you're both at each other's throats because you're courting their baggage and it's a mess. So it's good to periodically. I mean, ideally, I guess you would just uncord their baggage and you'd melt them out of your baggage every day, no matter what. That would be the safest bet. But personally, I tend to forget until something happens and I'm like, oh yeah, oops. Oops. Or something happens for like 3 days in a row and then finally I'm like, oh yeah. That must be what's going on. So it says, hello, Janet. Happy to catch you live. Yeah, how about that? Hello. That's fun. All right. So I'll try to be quick, but my reminder today for newbies is just that I am a pro level healer. So you don't have to sit through a hour and a half healing and do the whole thing on yourself if you are a newbie. There's no test, there's no exam. This is not like something you have to cram learn. You know, people learn self-healing at their own pace. And I do have short excerpt videos in part for that reason. So you can just pick one of the simpler videos that you notice in my short healing playlist, which is linked in the info section of this live stream later, this video in the info section. Also, I actually put a comment for a newbie in the comment section of the last healing, the 1 of 3 healing, which, you know, if you're listening to this years from now, I guess you could find it in the info section will be the playlist for this whole month, and then just look at the 1 of 3 healing in the comment section. But for you guys listening now, you just look at the healing right before this one. But it was basically just, I was like telling her that. And I said, well, how about pick one grounding video and then one short grounding video and then one short kind of topic fun kind of video. And just do those 2 for a while, you know, and just see the results. And, you know, you might see results right away. You might not see results till the next day or 2, you know, just keep working those 2 videos for a while. And then, you know, once you get bored of those 2, pick a different simple grounding one from that playlist, the short video playlist, and pick a different topic oriented one that seems doable and interesting to you. You know, so everyone learns at their own pace. This live stream is just the best healing that I can give for the people that purchased it. It doesn't have to be something that you memorize as a newbie. Hope that makes sense. That's why I write the healing summary, so you could kind of get at a glance what we did, you know, if the live stream is too much for you or you just don't have time to watch it. Alrighty, hope that makes sense. And that's why I make video chapters within a day or a day and a half, worst case, if it's like the final healing of a set. Because then you can, read the outline and be like, oh, that chapter is the most interesting. And then go to that video chapter and just listen to that part if you want. So that's that. I mean, obviously, plenty of people listen to the whole thing, but there's no rule. Do what you want and don't feel bad about it. Okay, so I'll be quiet now. Just for like 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, thank you for waiting. So let's start with grounding. So just recreate both your groundings. Just do it with your intention or your imagination. You don't have to see energy to do it. Just imagine two big groundings as wide as all your auras, wide all the way down to the core of the earth. One is for your physical body and your physical body's aura and energy system, and one is for your astral body, you as a spirit, and your astral body aura, connecting all the way down to the core of the earth. And bring up both of those groundings up high as your third chakra, which is just below your sternum. So your major chakras, 7 chakras, are along your spine, and this is your sternum, right? That bone right there. And then just below that, that's your third chakra. Helps you with getting stuff done and sleeping well. So, that's good, right? So to bring up your grounding that high and make both your groundings the same color. And I would suggest both red or both orange or both yellow. So let's test the grounding color, see which releases best for you right now, because it changes, right? So test both groundings at red, see how you feel. If you feel like you're releasing in a good way, you're more present. And then test having both those groundings at orange. See how that is. Take a deep breath. And test with both those groundings at yellow. Any color of yellow you want, and see how that feels for you. All right, and so that's grounding, right? And so you just keep it at the colors that work for you, right? The color, the shade of red or orange or yellow that helps you the most right now, right? And so then you make a copy out in front of you of your whole energy system, those fabulous groundings you just made, all your auras, and your physical body and your astral body are in the middle of all your auras, right? And just use gold light from your hands, right? Set your hand chakras and your fingertip chakras with your intention to a metallic gold color, right? Because that's a good vibration for healing and repair and unblocking. And you just do that with your thought or your intention. You don't have to be clairvoyant yet to do that, right? So that means that as those chakras, your hand and your fingertip chakras spin, they're naturally generating energy anyway. So you just set them to metallic gold color so that the vibration they're generating is gold. And gold light is good for healing. So now you're all set, right? Get your gold light. So use the gold light from one hand to unblock and repair and heal the other. You have some major meridians, and of course, important. Your fingers are important too here. So the functionality of your hand is really, really important. Especially, that if you've ever had a finger injury, of course. So heal those hands, right? So now use that gold light to comb through your everything, all your auras, your physical body, your astral body, and both your groundings. Right? And you can scoop together all the energy blocks in your grounding and saturate them with so much gold light that they start to melt away. You can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings courting these blocks, can you recycle them? And then once those blocks are melted, just see if that helped the releasing in your grounding, and do that again. Scoop together all the energy blocks that are in your grounding, saturate them with gold light, melt people out of them. Maybe some people are courting those blocks, melt the cords. And say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings courting these blocks? And melt them. Now that question, can you recycle any invasive beings courting these blocks? That might be annoying to have to keep saying that, right? So just make an agreement with your angels. Angels, when I say angels, invasive beings, that's what I mean. I mean, can you please recycle any invasive beings that are courting these blocks? Right? So comb through all your auras, and you can just scoop together some of the energy blocks that are healthy and gentle to clear right now, and just say, angels, invasive beings. So they'll recycle invasive beings. And then just keep using gold light. Melt everybody out of the blocks and melt the blocks. Deep breath. Do that one more time. Scoop together in your auras a bunch of energy blocks that are bothering you and saturate them with gold light. Say angels, invasive beings. So they'll recycle the invasive beings and keep using gold light until the blocks fully melt. Deep breath. Okay, good job. So now we're going to help emotional wellness, peace of mind, boundaries, and we're going to help you with faster growth and possibly your loved ones with faster growth as well in a clean, non-invasive way by uncording baggage. Right? So both ways. So you have baggage and other people have baggage, right? Everyone has baggage that they haven't yet cleared. Nobody's perfect, right? So, but if you can uncord people from your baggage, it's just easier to breathe and live and think. And it's actually physically more comfortable a lot of times as well. And you're more likely to have good boundaries then and be able to clear baggage and grow more quickly if people aren't cording the baggage. You can't stop people from cording your baggage. I mean, they're not perfect either, but you can melt the cords and then maybe some of the baggage, keep running gold light through it. Maybe half of it'll melt just because, you're spending like 20 seconds, melting cords and melting some baggage. So it's a great thing to do, right? So first, that's what we'll do. We will melt other people's cords going into your baggage, right? So go ahead and just imagine some representation of your baggage, all your baggage, right? And if there's some baggage that's just too much for you even to imagine, you can say, angels, can you check this? Make sure it's not too much, right? We don't have to clear all of it. We're just uncording, getting everyone out of it, right? So just you can bring up, so it can look kind of like a baggage junkyard, right? That's yours. This is all the baggage in your space. That's yours, right? And then just bring up red earth energy from the core of the earth straight up and soak your baggage junkyard in red earth energy. And lots of gold light from your hands, right? Just use lots of gold light and melt everybody's cords going into your baggage junkyard, right? Like, you can imagine them like lines of light from other people and just melt away the lines of light. And you don't have to know who's doing it. Chances are most people are cording at least some of your baggage. So just melt all the cords from going into your baggage junkyard, right? And touch your sixth chakra if you start to get all judgy and victim-y about like, gosh, if they could just stop cording me, meh. That's like asking someone to stop breathing, because if you're a detailed reader, you can see how imperfect everybody is, and it's impressive. So don't even go there. Just touch your sixth chakra, be non-judgmental. It is what it is. You want to move forward quickly and easily. Bam, right? So just lots of gold light, melt everybody out of your own baggage junkyard, right? And then when the cords are gone, you could say too, angels, invasive beings, can you recycle any invasive beings that are cording my baggage? Maybe there's some invasive beings making trouble too. And they're doing it on purpose. Unlike your neighbor and all these other people doing it subconsciously by accident. So, then, okay, and you can say angels, again, repeat invasive beings. So they recycle even more invasive beings out of your baggage junkyard. And then you can say, angels, can you remove any of this that's not healthy and gentle for me to clear right now? So then you may go from like a giant baggage junkyard to one that's pretty petite, it depends. But so that way, the only baggage of yours that's left is stuff that you really can clear right now, and it'll just help you have a better day and a week and month and yada yada. You know, you won't break your stride, right? So this is the healthy and gentle amount of your baggage junkyard that you can clear right now. And everybody's already out of it, but you can, you know, use a little extra gold light. You can say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the way? And then just melt it all or blow it all up. And just breathe into your joints, breathe into your spine. You can move your toes, touch your fingers. How does that feel? You got everybody out of your baggage and you cleared some of it too. So good job, good job. Give yourself some validation on how awesome you are. Alrighty, so now we'll do the other part of that, which is, trust me, is totally possible that you are courting other people's baggage. So you're gonna melt your cords that are going into anyone else's baggage, because it's just gonna make it harder for them to clear their baggage, and it's not great karma for you to do it, even if it was an accident. So let's just not do it, right? So you can just imagine yourself like a blob for yourself, you know, make it a nice blob, but you know, it doesn't have to be detailed, you know, photographic image of yourself. And then imagine everybody else, or, you know, maybe just a specific person that you're really wondering, am I courting their baggage? But you can do everybody too. And the thing is, you're not going to touch anybody. You're not going to send them energy. We're actually undoing that kind of thing, right? So just imagine you and then everyone else, and just look for the cords of your cords going to their baggage. And, you know, you don't have to feel shame about it. You know, either it's purely accidental or it's just it's not your finest moment, whatever. Who cares, right? Just melt it away. So don't send them gold, right? Just within your own space, just outside of your space, use gold light and melt these cords that you are sending to other people's baggage. Like maybe your good friend has 20 pieces of baggage and you're courting, like, you know, that they are trying to clear these days, or that is noticeable to you. And then maybe you're courting 10 out of 20 of those pieces. So you just melt all the cords that you're doing to their baggage, and that can help them feel like more refreshed and flowing and present. And so then they might actually clear a couple pieces of that baggage just because you uncorded, and that's like sort of a happy indirect result of it. So you're not making them do anything, you're just undoing an invasive behavior that you're doing. So I hope that makes sense. And you can even make a gold magnet and call back your energy from everybody's baggage. So you can imagine it like a 3D object, like a gold bubble or gold sphere, or gold cube, whatever, gold pyramid, whatever you like, right? And use it like a magnet and call back your energy from everybody's baggage. You know, especially if you are like irritated or bothered by somebody else's behaviors, or you feel like they don't grow fast enough for you, definitely make sure you're calling your energy back from them, because you're more likely to be in their space about it. So just call your energy back from anybody's baggage, right? So that you have your energy for yourself and you're not in the way of their evolvement, right? So call your energy back. And then you can even say, angels, can you clean off this energy, make sure it's just mine and it's nice, and then give it to yourself. All right, good job. So you melted your cords going to other people's baggage, and you also called back your energy from other people's baggage with a gold magnet, right? So good job, good job. Woohoo. Yay, good job, good job. So you can just, you can take a deep breath and see how that feels. And you can remind yourself that you are not responsible for the issues and problems of other adults, right? They're an adult, you're an adult, they have their issues, you have your issues, right? So just breathe, remind yourself that everyone grows at their own pace. Breathe into your body, remind yourself that you can you can work to evolve at a more pleasing rate for yourself. Your own involvement, you can affect your own involvement, but it's not good karma and not productive to try to control someone else's rate of growth, right? So just, you can imagine even letting go, like with your hands, imagine if you have any, you're holding on to any responsibility for someone else's good mood or someone else's emotional stability, right? And you can hand it to the angels if you're worried about the person and you're like, I can't let go of their emotional stability, Janet, you don't understand this person, right? Well, then hand it to your angels, because they're actually going to be able to do something about it. Whereas if you're in this codependent weirdness with somebody, it's going to make them grow less quickly, right? So you don't want that, right? So just imagine if you're holding on to responsibility for another adult's growth and mood, right? And just either imagine yourself letting go of it or just hand it to the angels. Angels, can you help me have a clean relationship with these people? All right, good job. Woohoo! Yay! So I hope that makes sense. And if you have any questions about that idea of, not taking responsibility for someone else's problems and someone else's issues, someone else's emotional burdens or whatever, you can post it in the chat for, if it's a question or something. And maybe if I have time after the healing, I'll read it and comment. It's something you can journal about, of course, too. Journaling can be pretty helpful. All right. Okay, so we'll do aura repair, and up there I just put like the potential benefits for aura repair, some of them, emotional wellness, peace of mind, boundaries with other people, getting better sleep. Aura repair can help with all that. Your auras protect you. They're like a buffer between you and invasive energies in the world, right? And they protect your chakras and your meridians, your organs, all that good stuff, right? So let's get nice flowing repaired auras, so they're stronger and you can feel better, right? So at first you can just comb through, use your hands and gold light from your hand chakras and your fingertip chakras and comb through all your auras. You have 17 auras, which again, that might blow your mind if you're a newbie, so you don't have to think about it. Just think about your auras, plural, and they're all in the same place. But if it doesn't blow your mind, you have an astral body aura, a physical body aura, and then 15 called Wei Qi auras. Wei Qi is a type of Qi that is strong boundaries energy. It's a traditional Chinese medicine concept, although the whole 15 Wei Qi auras is what the angels explained to me. It's not strictly Chinese medicine. Well, yeah, it's inspired by traditional Chinese medicine. So anyway, comb through your auras with a copy out in front of you, and you're looking for valleys. You're looking for like, oh my gosh, there's a big gash right there by my tummy. No wonder my tummy feels weird. No wonder, it feels like I still haven't finished digesting my meal that I ate 4 hours ago. I have all these auras in front of my tummy that are whacked. Or, no wonder my left hip is hurting me again, and the left side of my body when it was fine the other day. I'm missing a bunch of auras right there on that side. So just, it's good to, even if you're just imagining, to kind of practice, sensing, do you have rips in your auras? Because then you're more likely to repair your auras when you can sense damage, and you're only going to be able to sense damage if you practice at it. So anyway, okay. So when in doubt, you need aura repair, most likely. So we'll do it with composite copy technique, which is very newbie friendly. So you just imagine an image of a rip. So it could look like a big valley. And just say, okay, well, this represents all the rips that I have in all my auras right now. And then clean out the rip and repair it with gold light, right? So fill it up with sticky gold wax, which is gold light that with your intention sticks to everything that's not you. And then you lift out all the junk all at once, like a lump, and give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. Sticky gold wax. Lift out all the junk all at once. Angels, here you go. And use the gold light to get as deep as you can into the ripped parts so that they start to grow back and repair. And maybe you missed a couple of the hard objects that are still stuck there. So lift those out. Give them to your angels. Angels, here you go. Again, get the gold light really deep in there. You can say to angels, if there's any invasive beings in the way of this repair, can you recycle them? And so eventually your aura gets all repaired. Your auras, the rips, get all repaired. So then it's all like nice and poofy and bouncy, which is what you want. That's a strong aura, is nice and poofy and bouncy with no leaks, no rips, right? So you can double check the outer surface and just see if you feel any leaks. It'll kind of feel like if you had a leak in a tire and how the air kind of spurts out, you can kind of feel that pressure of the air pushing out. So it can feel the same way if you comb through the outer surface, like the repaired parts feel really smooth, and then the parts with the little leftover leaks, it just feels different. It feels like you're putting your hand over bristle brushes on a brush, like it feels different. It's not so smooth because you're feeling your energy leaking out, basically, of the rip in the aura. So if you have any of that, you can just with your intention pop out any hard objects that might still be there, have those explode, and just use gold light more, and just angels, can you get any invasive beings out of the way so that this can repair fully? Can you recycle the invasive beings? All right, good enough. So then you can redo your gold buffer zones. Just make them with your intention. There are two big gold flowy force fields that you make. One for your astral body aura, one for your physical body aura, just in the outer part, which is just an added nice buffer. And you can recreate those. So if you feel like you feel kind of like roadkill, somebody must have whacked you, just recreate your aura buffer zones and then work on getting the rips too. So anyway. Good job. We'll do that again one more time fast in case you have leftover rips. So composite copy for any leftover rips. Imagine an image and say, okay, this represents my leftover rips. Sticky gold wax, lift out all the junk. Angels, here you go. Sticky gold wax, lift out all the junk. Angels, here you go. Angels, if there are any beings in the way of this repair, can you recycle them? And just use so much gold light that everything reforms that's supposed to be there, like the gold mesh spheres, which are parts of the Wei Qi auras that generate gold light, that all repairs, everything gets fixed up, basically. You don't have to understand all that I just said. Just use gold light and let it repair. Gold light does the work. You can say to angels, help me to repair all the damage in my auras. All right, great job. So that's aura repair. Okay, so we'll do creative rings now. And creative rings is one of those things where if you're a super newbie, you don't like complexity, these live streams are too long for you, don't bother with them for now. You can just say, angels, can you fix all the stuff that I don't want to deal with right now? And just focus on your grounding. Okay, but for the rest of us, you can listen and follow along if you want. So creative rings are up here, 1, 2, 3, 3 gold rings. And you can make a copy of them out in front of you. They're a part of your astral body energy system, and they generate gold light all the time if they're working well. And that gets sent down and nourishes and protects your all your major chakras along your spine. So that's good. Right? So just imagine the copy of your 3 gold creative rings and use gold light and wash everybody out, melt the cords. It's very possible that a bunch of people are cording your creative rings. Don't worry about why, who, blah, blah, blah. Just melt them away. It's not their job to be perfect. It's just your job to take good care of yourself, right? That's the realistic approach, I think, in my opinion. So just use gold light, melt everybody out of your creative rings. And there could be some invasive beings cording your creative rings, and those, they can just get recycled, right? If you ask. So angels, can you recycle any invasive beings messing with my creative rings? And, you know, maybe you're doing detailed work and you feel like you have to say that a couple times to get them all. Just repeat, you know, just say angels, repeat. You know, angels, repeat. Do that again. Invasive beings, recycle them, please. You know, so you don't have to say it every time. Just angels, one more time. Angels, one more time. And there could be hard objects stuck there in your creative rings, and you could be like, well, Jan, I can't see energy, so how the heck do I know if there are hard objects stuck on my creative rings? Well, sticky gold wax works even if you can't see and you're not sure what's there. You know, sticky gold wax sticks to whatever's not you, and then you just lift it out and give it to your angels, right? So imagine your 3 gold creative rings and imagine your 7th chakras right under that, and then just sticky gold wax the whole thing, your creative rings and your 7th chakras. Sticky gold wax is gold light from your hands that with your intention, it sticks to whatever's not you. So then you can get rid of it, right? So sticky gold wax, your creative rings and your 7th chakras. Have it stick to everything that's not you. And then lift all that out like a big lump. Angels, here you go. So sticky gold wax, all your creative rings and your 7th chakras. Have it stick to everything that's not you. Lift all that out. Angels, here you go. And just double check the flaps of your creative rings. Creative rings, just like chakras, they have flaps around the round opening. And you don't want the flaps to be sticking out. They're very handy, though, as an indicator of like there's a problem or an issue that you can take care of if the flaps are open. If the flaps are open, they look like this. They like kind of stick out like that, right? And but that would be a top-down view of any one of your creative rings if the flaps are open, right? That would be from people's cords stuck in there, and they're sending their energy in, which irritates the creative ring, and it kind of puffs out. So if you melt all the cords and pop out all the hard objects and do repair, then the flaps can relax and fall shut. So then it's just a smooth, round outer surface, which is what you want. That way it's much harder for people to manipulate you and cord your creative rings. And you have much stronger boundaries with invasive energies. So check those flaps. You want them to be shut. And sometimes it's just like 4 of them are open, you know, at like the, you know, far back, far front, and far left and far right of your creative rings. So just check those especially. Melt cords so that those can shut too. All right. You can do some extra unblocking just above your creative rings and below your creative rings. Sometimes if you like have a mental block or, you know, writer's block, creative block, something like that, you have energy blocks above your creative rings or right below them. So you can just use gold light and melt the blocks. Also, blocks anywhere above your 7th chakra can lead to like drama, like you getting caught up in resentments or you know, really being pissed about something that happened already. If it's, you know, train wrecking your mood and all that, obviously aura repair, chakra repair, all that could help too, but specifically just having good flow up here above the top of your head can really help with just like simplifying and allowing you to focus on something productive rather than train wrecking on drama. So unblock all, melt away blocks above your 7th chakra. So you can like put one hand on your, oops. So this is Acudol that I use to demonstrate, right? So her 7th chakra is in the top of her head, just like yours, right? So you could put one head on the copy of the top of your 7th chakra and use the other hand to comb upward and just melt the blocks in the above your head in your auras. Right? That way you don't have to blame your drama on other people. You just melt it out of your space so that you have less drama. All right, good job, good job, good job. So that was we can make that its own chapter. So that was melting energy blocks above your head, above your 7th chakra for less drama in your life. All right, good job, good job. Okay, so we're going to do chakra repair and unblocking. And when you're unblocking the chakras, once you've repaired them, it's really nice to be able to work in a theme as well. So for those of you that feel like, oh, I only have time to do my 5 essentials, but I want to do all the other fun stuff. Well, you know, once you're repaired all your chakras with composite copy technique, which we'll use, then it's a really easy moment to just work in some theme work really quickly and just lift out the blocks in the way of, you know, you getting this email written and sent in the next hour, or in the way of you working out, you know, like you used to do, or in the way of you getting good sleep tonight, you know. So it's really easy to work into chakra repair, right? So let's do chakra repair. This is an image of the basic shape of a chakra. So all your chakras, acupuncture points, major chakras, all of them, they have that basic shape. They're just, you know, some are much smaller and whatever, you know, because they have to fit in a meridian or fit in the palm of your hand or whatever, right? But so just have an image of an open cylinder like that and just say, okay, well, this represents all my chakras, all my major and minor chakras of my body and my spirit. So major means 7 astral and 7 physical body chakras. Minor chakras is every other chakra that you have, including all the fabulous acupuncture points, right? So just make an image of a chakra, say, okay, well, this represents all my chakras. So as I'm repairing and unblocking this, I'm repairing and unblocking all my chakras, right? So just cold light. You can bring up red earth energy and soak your chakras in red earth energy. And just use gold light, melt cords going into the chakras. Typically, the cords will come in pairs and go into the round openings, either round opening. So just melt all the cords. Pairs, like pairs from one person. So like say, you know, your partner's cording one of your chakras, it'll be a pair of cords going into that chakra from the other person. And again, if you're a newbie, that's potentially too much information. Just use gold light to melt cords. Don't think about how many, who they're from, whatever. Just melt cords, gold light. And your intention, if you have a young child, 12 years old or younger, is obviously to keep that first chakra cord to your child. Which, you know, you can just say, okay, any cord I'm supposed to keep from to my young children, angels help me keep that one and get rid of every other one. So just use gold light and go ahead and repair and melt baggage. The baggage could be stuffed inside the chakra, it could be wrapped around the outside of the chakra, could be blocking either of the round openings. So you can, you know, use your energy hands and use gold light and scoop out the baggage that's healthy and gentle to get rid of in the chakras. And say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings cording this junk? Melt cords from people, get them out, and melt the baggage. And every time you unblock, you can try to repair again. Because sometimes the chakra is just so blocked up that it can't repair. Because the gold light doesn't make enough contact. So you just keep doing unblocking, melting cords, repair. Unblocking, melting cords, you know. Have angels recycle invasive beings, repair. Angels, can you recycle the invasive beings? Lift out the baggage in the way of your general wellness that's healthy and gentle to get rid of. Lift out the baggage in the way of your sleep, good sleep. Melt it away. Lift out the baggage in the way of your emotional wellness that's healthy and gentle to clear. Use lots of gold light so it melts. Deep breath. Lift out the baggage in the way of your peace of mind that's healthy and gentle to get rid of. You can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of any of this clearing, can you recycle them? Gold light. Melt the baggage. Lift out any baggage from your chakras that's healthy and gentle to get rid of. That's in the way of your helpful realizations. Lift out that baggage. Angels, can you recycle any invasive beings? Just keep using gold light. Melt people out. Melt the cord. Melt the baggage. Again, gold light. So chakras have flaps just like the creative rings around the round opening. So use a lot of gold light, and as you're melting the cords and repairing and unblocking, the flaps can fall shut. So it's a nice smooth round opening. No flaps sticking out. And you might have to lift out some hard objects that are in the way of the repair. Melt those away, lift out the hard objects, melt them. And again, try the repair. Non-resistance is really powerful. Helps you, get out of other people's spaces. It helps you focus and use your personal power in your highest, best interests. So lift out any blocks in the way of your non-resistance that are in your chakras. Lift out those blocks and just use gold light to melt it. You say, angels, can you recycle the invasive beings in the way? Keep using gold light till you melt it, right? So again, melt any blocks in the way of your causing you to resist, be in resistance in that like unhealthy way, the stuck way. And just use so much gold light, melt your resistance blocks. All right, great job. You're a total rock star. Woohoo. Yay. All right, so that was all that good stuff, plus we also did non-resistance too. Oh, right. Good job, good job. Okay, so back of head stuff, right? Right, all that stuff back there. So we're gonna do base of skull, acupuncture points, repair and unblock those, repair and unblock the auras behind those base of skull points, so they're happy and flowing, and that helps you. So then we'll do good karma windows, which is also another part of back there. So how does that benefit you? Those are probably the primary benefits for focus, good sleep, and boundaries would be the reasons to work this back of head stuff. So if you have trouble sleeping, like say you felt reasonably good during the day, but then there's no way you can sleep. I mean, there could be several reasons, but one of them could be just you're all beat up back here. And so there's too much external energy coming, keeping your mind overly active. So you can't turn your brain off enough to drop off to restful sleep. So let's work it, right? Let's work the back of head stuff. And I have my favorite diagram of all time, perhaps. Favorite as in most useful, maybe. Right there. So those 2 rows of dots in the diagram, those are your base of skull points, acupuncture points that I call the base of skull points. And so you can just imagine them. Each one of those is not a dot in reality, it's a chakra, and just a smaller chakra. And so it fits within the meridian to help the energy flow within that meridian and to generate energy, which all chakras do, is they generate energy and they help the flow. Right? So just imagine each one of them, and you can imagine a bigger version of each one so you can see if it's clogged, you can see if it's leaking energy, you can see if there's something weird stuck in it. You can just pop all that out. Use cold light to heal and repair and unblock. Oh, if you have migraines too, you might need some of this work, especially people that get chronic migraines. And the one that goes up the midline there is governing vessel meridian GV, and that one, I guess maybe I should. So left to right, those meridians are left to center. Those meridians are gallbladder, GB, and then UB is the yellow one, and then the grayish one in the center. And again, in reality, it better not be gray. Red is a good color for all these. But anyway, that's GV, governing vessel meridian. That's the one that manages all your young meridians. Okay, so gallbladder, urinary bladder, governing vessel. Right, those ones back there. So you don't have to know that though, but it's kind of cool. Maybe be cool for you. So, so like say if we're just doing that governing vessel meridian, the one up the midline, right? It should be a red flowy tube energetically, but it could be black and crusty. It could have all sorts of fuzzy whiteness on it, which might be some invasive beings. You can just say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of this work, can you recycle them? You might have to say that a couple times as you work. So you can just say, angels again. Angels again. Yeah, the one on the top there, GV20, and the GV meridian as it goes on the top there, you can especially imagine that one. And does it look like all black and crusty with a dent in it? If so, not good. You want it to be red and flowy and sort of plump and happy, right? So you imagine the GV meridian going up and it's red and flowy, and then whoop, black and crusty and dented in. No, that's so good, right? So then use gold light, gold fire, and just surround that, soak that part that's all black and crusty and dented in so that it repairs itself. And you say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of this repair, can you recycle them? Maybe there's some hard objects sticking out. Pop those out, let them destroy. And just this part alone can really help make someone feel human again. Maybe human is an exaggeration, but you know what I mean? Like feel like they're in charge of their life again, as opposed to like, having no control over anything. So again, check that the GV meridian, if it was like just imagine it as if you're inside it, and just be like, okay, red flowy, oop, white and crusty and dented, not good. Angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the way? Use so much gold light until it grows back. Pop out the hard object. And again, angels, can you recycle the invasive beings? A red and flowy, right? Urinary bladder meridian. That looks like dented and compressed or like really too skinny. Just keep using gold light until it kind of relaxes and gets red and flowy also. And then the gallbladder meridian, the blue-green one. Again, if it looks too like black and compressed or something, just keep using gold light until it relaxes and expands. All red and flowy. The angels can recycle any invasive beings in the way. And also, you may have popped out a bunch of beings by doing all this, right? So then you just say, angels, can you recycle my lurkers, right? Any invasive beings that you popped out, but they're maybe still hanging around and make trouble later. Angels, can you recycle all my lurkers? And maybe you have some agreements with some of the lurkers. So they're kind of pissed off and they're not going to go away because you have an agreement. Well, clear the damn agreement, right? So if you have any unhealthy agreements with lurkers, right? Just imagine the agreements like pieces of paper and use so much gold light. Be like, angels, help me melt these unhealthy agreements. Yeah, just melt those agreements. Bye-bye. You have free will. You can end agreements. All right. So gallbladder meridian. Not red and flowy. Take your time. Lots of gold light. You can bring up red earth energy. And maybe the gallbladder meridian is being stubborn because the aura that relates to it is all black and crusty. And that doesn't help, right? So just imagine, if you have a problem specifically with one of these meridians, comb through, the aura behind that's supposed to protect and nurture that meridian. Maybe it's like all whacked out and it's not there. maybe it's there, but it's all like there's big energy blocks. So you can just imagine the energy blocks behind your head that are contributing to the tightness in this meridian, and just surround them in gold light. Say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way, can you recycle them? Melt everybody out, melt the blocks. You can give your base of skull area in the back of your neck a nice red grounding going down to the core of the earth. Help you release whatever's not you. Again, gallbladder meridian. Unblock behind it if it's still not the way you want it. Gallbladder meridian helps decisiveness. So it's super satisfying to improve it. All right, good enough. Woohoo! Hey. So that was base of skull points. So also within the back of head stuff category is the good karma windows, which often I just write GKW to say good karma windows. Those are back here. They're like back doors to your astral body aura, and they're useful like magical windows for you to bring in your new positive change energy. But if they're damaged, then they could be backdoors for invasive energy to come into your astral body energy system. But if they're nice and repaired and flowing and everything, then it's just like nice magical ways for you to bring in goodness that you want, like your positive change energy, some good karma from the universe, yada yada. So the good karma windows, each one looks like a triple frame window, and they're different colors based on your energy in each aura layer of your astral body aura. But so that's the idea, that triple frame right there. It's just a rough drawing of what one of them would look like. So just comb through all of them. And I recently noticed that the sides of those good karma windows were not as well repaired as the top and the bottom. So just a heads up on that as you imagine your copy. And you direct the gold light, make sure that you get the sides repaired and unblocked, just like the top and the bottom of all these little windows. And you can lift out the baggage and melt it away. Lift out the baggage, melt it away. Lift out the baggage, melt it away. You say, angels, if there's any invasive beings in the way of this repair and unblocking, can you recycle them? And if there are any invasive beings that are kind of well rooted, they go through the windows and anchor into one of your chakras. Just grab it like you're grabbing a weed in the garden, where you grab the weed and you want the root too, right? So grab the whole thing and freeze it and drag it out. Angels, here you go. Freeze it, drag it out. Angels, here you go. Freeze it, drag it. Angels, here you go. If you're a newbie and that freaks you out, don't bother. You can just say, angels, can you really, really, really help me clean out the invasive beings in this area? And just keep using red earth energy and gold light and breathe. And just imagine getting more and more and more present in this area so that you can focus, you can have your restful sleep, and you can have good boundaries with everybody. All right, just do what you're ready to do. All right, good job. Okay, so as I promised, we've finished our 5 essentials now. Woohoo! Grounding, aura repair, creative ring repair, chakra repair, and back of head stuff, right? So now we'll do just a little bit on unblocking and repairing the joints in your spine, which are called facet and disc joints. And the benefits of that, some of the potential benefits are energy flow and presence. It's a lot easier to be present when your spine has good flow, and in part because, I mean, your brain and your spinal cord, you know, it's a big part of your physical functioning and using your body, but also all your major chakras are along your spine. So good flow in your spine helps good flow with your chakras and vice versa. But then also boundaries with other people and invasive beings as well, because there's so many joints in your spine. And if they're damaged or leaking, it just can attract invasive energies. And if they're damaged or blocked up, it's much harder to be present. So let's do it. It's easy. Piece of cake. So this is a diagram looking from behind at 2 of your vertebrae. And of course, your vertebrae are the bones that make up your spine, right? So just use gold light and red earth energy, and bring up red earth energy from the core of the earth. Soak all your joints of your spine and gold light. So the facet joints are those light blue ones that you see right there in that diagram. And then the disc joints, you don't quite see very well in that diagram there, but it's like, you know, if you have a cookie with filling inside, the filling inside kind of looks like the disc joint. You know, in between each of your vertebrae, there's a disc joint. Right? So just gold light and red earth energy through your disc joints and your facet joint. And you can imagine the energy leaks that just like, you know, like water spurting out of a hose or something. Just if you find some of those, melt away any hard objects in the area. You can say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the area? And then just keep using gold light until it heals up and there's no more leaking. Angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the way of this repair? All right, good job. Woohoo. All right. Yay. Okay, so now we're going to do a faster version of something that we did earlier, where we melted cords that you have going into other people's baggage, which may be subconscious, but you're still doing it. And then we melted cords from all sorts of other people going into your baggage. And the benefit of melting these cords is it helps speed your growth. It can help your energy boundaries a lot with these other people. And it can even help the other people to evolve at a more rapid pace than they otherwise would. And it's very non-controlling. So it's good karma for you. And, you know, it's just a good thing, right? So this time we're going to do just a fast wham bam version. So that, because I think once you learn fast versions of things, you're much more likely to kind of freestyle it and do it for a minute before you fall asleep, or just after you wake up in the morning, or, you know, say you have a lunch break, you do it for 30 seconds and, you know, move on with your day. So this will be the fast version. Okay. So, imagine yourself, imagine everybody else. Don't do anything to them. Just imagine the cords going from them to your baggage, and melt all those cords. Melt the cords from these other people. So don't send them gold light. Just the gold lights, their cords are coming into your space. So just use the gold light in and around your space and melt everybody's cords. Keep breathing as you do it. Deep breath, breathe into your joints, your body, reground. See how that feels. And we'll do the same process, but thinking of the other way around, cords that you probably accidentally are sending to other people's baggage. So imagine yourself, imagine everybody else, and imagine the cords that you have created and you've anchored into other people's baggage. And maybe you mean well, whatever, for whatever reason. We know you're a saint, whatever. It's not about that, right? So just you, everybody else, what cords have you created that you have going into everyone else's baggage? And just use lots of gold light and melt the cords. Don't send them any energy, just melt the cords. Gold light in and around your space. Melt these cords that you have created into other people's baggage. And maybe you have accidentally made some agreements to take responsibility for the mood, the good mood of another adult, another grown man or grown woman in your life. And technically, you know, that's not a healthy agreement. Of course, you can decide for yourself, but that's my opinion. So you can lay out any unhealthy agreements that you have currently with other people. And it could be you made it on a really bad day 2 years ago when you weren't thinking subconsciously, you know. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Just imagine unhealthy agreements that you have where you agreed to be in charge of somebody else's mood or how sunny their day is, right? And these are grown adults, right? So all those unhealthy agreements that you may have with grown adults in your life, and say, angels, can you help me update or clear these agreements, whatever's in my best interests? And then just use lots of gold light. And that way, you know, if there are a couple agreements that just need a little rewriting, your angels are helping you with that. And the other ones that are just, you know, really, really, really not in anybody's best interest, they're just melting away. Right, so go ahead, gold light through the unhealthy agreements. So go ahead, breathe into all your joints, breathe into your chakras, your auras, your grounding, your toes, your fingers. Nice deep breaths. All right, good job. So that way you can live your life and let other people live theirs. And you can offer compassion and empathy and companionship to the loved ones in your life. But you will not have to do any unhealthy taking responsibility for their problems. Or you won't accidentally fall into a pattern of invasively fixing other people, which never works. All right. So, I mean, you could make an affirmation of some sort about it, like my problems are mine, their problems are theirs. You know, angels, help me to have clean boundaries with the people in my life. Help me to have clean and healthy boundaries with the people in my life. All right, good job, good job. Woohoo! Yay! Okay. So this one we're gonna do the exercise with balls of colored light that represent helpful realizations that you want to become conscious of, that are healthy and gentle for you to become conscious of right now, that are currently in your subconscious mind, and we'll be clearing blocks so that they move into your conscious mind at a pace that, you know, is appropriate. So, and the point of that is probably pretty obvious. I mean, helpful realizations obviously are helpful. But, you know, to further illustrate the benefit, helpful realizations can help speed your growth and progress by quite a bit. You can have like sort of non-linear jumps where you realize like, whoa, why am I doing that and that? I don't need to do either of those things. So it can speed your growth, and also just make life, you know, lighter and more enjoyable. If you have these sort of flashes of realization that really, you know, help. Yeah. So let's do it. Should be easy. So you can imagine your mind however you want, but imagine your subconscious mind and your conscious mind. So I'm going to imagine two gardens that are connected by a flowy gold boundary. So I call these your mind gardens, right? And so one garden is for your subconscious mind, one garden is for your conscious mind, and then there's a flowing boundary between your subconscious and your conscious mind. It's not healthy to be aware of everything that you know subconsciously, but you know, there is a nice way in which you can get rid of unhealthy repression, unhealthy denial at a healthy pace, and it makes life great, even greater, let's say, right? So in this case, you imagine both your minds, subconscious and conscious, and just in a simple way, imagine colored balls, balls of a certain rainbow color or gold, that represent some type of helpful realizations that you're ready for, that are healthy and gentle. So maybe it's like 7 orange balls of colored light, or maybe it's 3 gold balls of colored light, whatever, right? So your energy, some kind of helpful realization energy that you're ready for, that's still in your subconscious mind, right? Imagine those balls of colored light, and then just imagine the energy blocks that you need to clear in order to be able to, for that realization to move into your conscious mind. So stack up the energy blocks that you can clear to make that transition, to help that knowledge pop into your conscious mind, maybe immediately or, over time in the next few days, right? So just imagine those energy blocks that you can clear that will help that knowledge come through for you. And you could say, angels, is this healthy and gentle to do? So that way, if it's not, they'll clear the blocks. They'll, give you different colored blocks, balls or something, but then you can just say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the way of this clearing? Just use so much gold light, melt everybody out of the blocks, melt the blocks. And maybe you have to do 1 or 2 sets of those blocks, but typically even just after the 1 set, then you'll see the colored balls pop into your conscious mind. But you may have to do a couple sets of block clearing. Say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the way of this clearing? And maybe you might need to also use gold light in that flowing boundary between your conscious and your subconscious mind, so that you can, melt away some unhealthy levels of denial or some unhealthy levels of, shame or whatever that are there from the past. And you may not have to do those extra steps, but sometimes you might, right? So let's do that again. So just take a deep breath, recheck your grounding, maybe change the grounding color to a different, color within red or orange or yellow if you want. And again, imagine both your minds, subconscious and conscious, with the gold flowy boundary in between them. And imagine as gold balls of your energy, some kind of a helpful realization energy that's currently in your subconscious mind, but you're ready for it if you would be able to be conscious of it. Right? So imagine what color the balls are, maybe how many there are, and just imagine the blocks that you need to clear in order to help those realizations pop into your consciousness at some point now or in the near future, right? So just imagine the blocks that you need to clear that would help that transition. Say, angels, is it healthy and gentle to do this? And then, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the way of this repair, of this clearing? And then just melt everybody out of the way, all the cords from people, melt all the people's energy out of the blocks, and melt the blocks. And when you've melted enough of the blocks, the colored balls just pop into the conscious mind garden. So that even if then you don't, have a conscious flash, you don't have to worry about that part. As long as they're in your conscious mind now, you're good. And you'll realize them in the pace you need at the level you need. So, but if you still need to do more to make them pop over, maybe melt a couple more blocks. Say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the way? Maybe more gold light in that boundary between the 2 gardens. Maybe some more gold light in both the gardens, especially the subconscious one. Maybe red earth energy, bring that up to both the gardens, and then bring up orange earth energy to both your gardens. And yellow earth energy straight from the core of the earth to both your gardens. And not only that can help you just in general, but maybe that helped pop the colored balls into your conscious mind garden. And if you want, you can stop and journal and think about the colored balls of energy that were those helpful realizations. Think of, if you can think of at least some of what they might represent for you. if you want, but you don't have to. You know, it can, they'll come to your consciousness now, when you need them, as you need them. They're ready. They're not like buried because of baggage in your subconscious anymore. All right. Good job. Good job. So we'll do the same exercise, but for a different benefit, right? So the colored balls this time will represent repression, right? So it's maybe parts of your energy that have been repressed. So we're undoing this repression by this process, right? So maybe the colored balls represent some of your long lost creativity, or some of your long lost innocence, or some of your long lost determination, or, you know, sense of humor, or, you know, playfulness, or whatever, you know. But you don't have to know what it is. You just know, well, that's helpful to me. It's in my subconscious. It was repressed, but it's, you know, the angels double checked. It's healthy and gentle. So now I'm going to clear and blocks and unrepress it. Okay. So let's do it. So this is doing for real. Doing for real. How am I going to get that up? There we go. This is doing for real now. Okay. So imagine your two gardens, right? Subconscious mind, conscious mind, and the gold Floyd boundary that is in between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. And imagine some energy of yours that was repressed into your subconscious, but you're ready for it. It's healthy and gentle to unrepress right now. So you imagine it as colored balls of light, maybe 2 red balls, or, you know, 7 green balls, whatever, right? And then just say, angels, is it healthy and gentle to unrepress these right now? And maybe your angels will say, well, instead of all 7, why don't we do 4? Because you got a lot going on this week, you know? So have your angels double check, right? So that whatever's still left there that you see, that you imagine, the colored balls, you know, then that's energy that's healthy and gentle to unrepress right now for you. And so we're going to clear the baggage in the way, you know, so we can make that happen, right? So just imagine any energy blocks that you have that have been repressing all that stuff. So it could have been dumped energy from someone, or your own shame, or whatever. It doesn't matter, right? So just imagine all the energy blocks that you need to clear. And then, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the way of this clearing? Melt everybody's cords out of the way, and melt the blocks. And if the balls haven't popped over yet, maybe imagine a whole nother batch of energy blocks that you could clear that would help those helpful realizations that are healthy and gentle, or that repressed energy of yours that would be really good for you to unrepress right now. You know, what blocks can you clear to help that move into your conscious life? And just imagine the blocks. Angels, can you recycle any invasive beings hooked into this junk? And melt the blocks. Melt everybody out and melt the blocks. So go ahead, see if the balls have popped over into your conscious mind garden. And if they haven't, maybe just heal both gardens a little extra. You can say, angels, help me do this. All right, good job, good job. So we'll do that one more time, and we will definitely ask the angels to double check first, so we know we're not doing too much, right? So imagine your 2 gardens, one for your subconscious mind, one for your garden, one for your conscious mind, right? And the gold flowy boundary in between. Imagine colored balls of energy representing parts of you that got repressed that would be healthy and gentle for you to unrepress right now, right? Imagine the color of them, how many there are. And just angels, is it healthy and gentle to unrepress all this right now? And that way your angels might edit it a little bit. So whatever's left, it is healthy and gentle right now to unrepress. And then just imagine out in front of you the baggage, the piles of energy blocks that you can clear to help make that happen. Right? And as you run gold light through those blocks, just angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the way? And see if the colored balls have popped over now into your conscious mind yet. If not, you can use gold light in both your gardens. Bring up red earth energy, orange earth energy, yellow earth energy, soak your gardens. Unblock that gold flowy boundary in between the two gardens. All right. Good job. Good job. Woohoo. How about that? Yay. So take a deep breath. How do you feel? And it's okay if you don't feel an immediate change. A lot of people feel changes with quite a time delay. Some people feel it immediately. Some people feel it, in a few hours, in a day. Some people it takes 2 days and then all of a sudden they're on a roll. So you may have a certain pattern like that, but whatever. Just notice, how do you feel right now? And that's fine, however you feel. And you can unblock your groundings. Just imagine you're everything out in front of you, and just make sure that both your groundings are as wide as all your auras in all directions, even behind you. Melt everybody out of your groundings. There could be people connecting into your grounding, so melt away those connections with gold light. Your grounding should just be for you. Their grounding should just be for them. Even if, like, for example, you do have a 1-year-old child, it's better for their grounding to go straight down without a detour into yours, because you have adult problems in your grounding that would be too much for your kid, and vice versa. They have intense kid problems that would be too much for your grounding. All right. Woohoo. So that's playing with color balls and mind gardens. Good job. Okay, so this is, we're going to just do this in a very high level, simple way, right? We're going to clear deeper baggage, more underlying baggage, that is healthy and gentle to clear right now, that some people might call a core baggage, something that is beneath a lot of other problems that you have, right? And you have to know your core baggage consciously to do any of this? No. And in fact, I've seen a lot of pretty stuck people that have very eloquent ways of describing their core baggage. It's like, it's different. Clearing it is really different than being able to put it into words consciously a lot of times. So we're just focused on the results of actually clearing it, not writing a PhD paper on it, right? So you actually don't have to know much about it consciously at all in order to, you need to be determined and diligent with your self-healing. And even if that takes a while to build that up, how consistent you are, sometimes that's not easy for people, to be consistent with positive actions and behaviors. But that's pretty much what's needed, not the conscious knowledge of, blah, 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 what issue and where it came from and blah, 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 and highfalutin ways of saying it. All right. So we're going to see how simple energy healing could be. Just make piles of all your core issues. Maybe you got 4, maybe you have 24. Does not matter, right? And then divide the piles. One section is what's healthy and gentle to clear today, and the other section is no way in hell that's healthy to clear right now. It'd be way too much, right? And then say, angels, can you double check my piles and clear off of my vision any that are not good for me to work on right now, not healthy and gentle for me to clear right now. Just breathe into your body while your angels sort that for you. Double check your sorting, let's say. Right? So then you're just left with that one section of your core baggage energy blocks, basically. Your core energy blocks that are healthy and gentle to clear right now. Right? And now we're going to clear them mindfully, which is pretty easy. It's like just 2 steps, right? So well, maybe 3. You ground them first with red earth energy, bring that up from the core of the earth. That's optional, but it's nice. So when you do that and soak them with red earth energy, it just helps ground them and get everybody out, including you, so that you're more separate. And then just use gold light and melt the cords from people. It could be every person you've ever had a friendship with or a relationship or a business relationship with that are cording all your core issues. Subconsciously, it's just what people do a lot of the time. So melt all those cords, melt everybody out of this core baggage of yours that's healthy and gentle to get rid of right now. And then just say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings that are hooked into this junk? And deep breath while your angels do that for you. So then just more gold light, make sure everybody's out. You gold fire if you want. Just get everybody out of this core baggage that's healthy and gentle to clear right now. And then you could just blow it up in like some fireworks or something if you want, or just fully melt it with gold light or gold fire or gold water, whatever you like. That's kind of fun. So we'll do that a little faster. But let's do a tricolor earth energy soak first, right? So big grounding, red or orange or yellow, both your grounding same color, right? And I guess you could do tricolor, or you could just do one color, whatever you feel, right? But I'm going to do tricolor. So make your groundings red first and bring up red earth energy up. Soak everything in red earth energy, everything in your space in red earth energy. Remind yourself it's okay to let go. It's okay to receive. Deep breath, and then bring that down to the normal grounding level, and then make your grounding orange, your groundings, and then turn them into orange straws. Bring up orange earth energy up. Soak everything in your space in orange earth energy. Remind yourself it is okay to let go and release and receive. And then bring that down to the normal grounding level and make your groundings yellow. And bring up yellow earth energy. Up. Soak everything in yellow earth energy. Breathe. Remind yourself it's okay to let go. It's okay to receive. And then bring that down. If you want, or you could leave it up, actually. That'd be fine too. And change it from yellow to red or orange if you prefer. Or just bring it down to the normal grounding level. All right, so quickly again, core issue baggage. So just put out in front of you copies of all your core baggage. Keep it far enough away that it's just a bunch of blocks. You don't see it, you don't feel it. I mean, you could see it, but like not in detail, just a bunch of blocks. This is my core baggage, bam. And then divide it into 2 sections. One section is healthy and gentle to clear right now. One section is there's no way in hell that's healthy and gentle to clear right now. Right? And say, angels, can you double check my sorting? And remove from my vision any stuff that's not healthy and gentle for me to clear right now. Just breathe while your angels do that. So then you just got one section of healthy and gentle core baggage that you can clear right now. And you can use gold fire, gold water, Melt everybody out of the way. Melt their cords, melt your energy out, melt their energy out. You could say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the way of this clearing? Melt the baggage or blow it up at this point. See, that's why I don't have to do drugs. Stuff like that feels so good. Good times. Geeky fun. All right. So we'll just do sort of a wrap up extraordinaire right now. Okay, so this is going to kind of be a plentiful wrap up, let's say. And the purpose of it is so that you have forward momentum and that you can surf, your growth in the next day or two more gently. Because I mean, anybody can surf growth if they're a good healer already and they are going to diligently heal themselves in the next couple of days. But, it's nice to make it easier, so that, I don't know, maybe if you're not quite as diligent in healing yourself tomorrow, you just do like the short version that you could still serve pretty well. So that's the purpose of this, is just to kind of cross the T's and dot the I's and make it go a little easier with your growth. So first, so we're going to do all that stuff below right now, kind of quickly. So the first part of that is the 3-step wrap up, which is right here. So it's easy though. So right there, the recycle lurkers. So just imagine you don't have to even imagine. You can just say, angels, can you please recycle all my lurkers? But you could imagine your energy and your auras, and then the lurkers are kind of out and about around, like a foot away or 10 feet away, just kind of eyeing you suspiciously. You say, angels, can you recycle all my lurkers? And maybe some of the lurkers didn't go away because you still have unhealthy agreements with them, which I put over there, agreements. We're going to clear agreements in case you have agreements with any of these shifty lurkers. So put out in front of you if you have any agreements with shifty, lurking, invasive beings. As the angels, can you help me clear these? And just use so much gold light and just, remind yourself, hey, I have free will. I can end unhealthy agreements. Angels, help me do this. And just melt all the agreements. All right, good job. And if any didn't melt, just say, angels, can you help me with these agreements? All right, so then clear stebs is what that STEBS, stebs, stubborn triggered energy blocks. That's what it stands for. So just big gold blanket out in front of you and just pile onto it copies of anything that's still triggered for you. You can imagine them like, hard plates of energy, just these energy blocks that are triggered. Pile them all out in front of you. So it could be triggered because of, the financial markets or politics or something somebody said to you or something somebody didn't do that you felt they should have done, whatever, whatever's triggered for you for any reason, consciously or subconsciously, put it all out in front of you. Say, angels, is it healthy and gentle to clear all this right now? And then, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings hooked into this junk? Deep breath. So then you can do the rest. It's easy. Just bring up red earth energy, soak all this baggage in red earth energy, gold light, melt cords from people, melt everybody out of all this baggage, and melt yourself out. And then you can just blow it all up, or you can keep using gold light so that it all melts away. All right, great job. So blue soak for your mind is gotta be one of the most enjoyable things. So you can do it any way you want. Imagine your mind, I like the mind gardens, obviously, but you can imagine your minds as beaches or gardens or forests or one tree or one flower or whatever you want. But the idea is you bring up blue earth energy just to soak your mind, not like all your lower chakras and everything and all your chakras, because blue is a specific vibration and it'd be a little too fast moving for some of your lower chakras. So just imagine any representation of your mind that you like and bring up blue earth energy and soak your mind with the blue earth energy. And while you're at it, you can imagine some energy blocks in your mind that are healthy and gentle to clear right now that would help you, function and make the most of your life if you cleared them right now. So just melt some energy blocks with gold light from your hands that are in your mind. All right. So you're calming your mind with the blue earth energy, and then you're using gold light to nourish and also melt some blocks. Melt some dumped energy from other people in your mind. You can say, angels, can you help me have peace of mind? All right, good job. You can let go of that representation out in front of you. And so now we just have a couple little things left. Down there, filaments, chakra filaments. Those are just energy connections between your 7 physical body chakras and your 7 astral body chakras. So like both your 7s are here if you're fully present, because your spirit clicks into your body, more and more and more the more present you are, right? So, but if you imagine both your 7 chakras separately, set them both to purple, then you can imagine the connections between the two that are yours. I call them filaments just because people tend to have negative associations with cords, like the cords from other people, right? So filaments is like your cords to you, right? Between your body and your spirit, right? So technically you have a pair of crisscross filaments, but you can just imagine it as one filament if you want to. That's fine. So just your 7th chakra filament, 6th chakra filament, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. And just imagine them all and use gold light. Pop out any hard objects from other people. You can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings messing with my filaments, can you recycle them? Lots of gold light. You can use gold sandstorm just to make sure you're not allowing any invasive energy to mess with your filaments and that they're fully repaired. and unblocked. All right. And then 3 through 1 physical chakras. I just mean physical body chakras 3, 2, and 1. And also your legs. So we'll do a little extra on that. So your physical body chakras, the major ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you come into your body from the top down. So a lot of times people are less likely to be present in 3, 2, and 1. Although the more you work at it, then you can be in all of them all the time. You're awake. But so let's do a little extra TLC for your 3, 2, and 1 of your physical body, your chakras 3, 2, and 1. So we'll repair them just a little extra if needed and unblock them a little extra. So each one is like this, like a chakra, right? Round opening in the front, round opening in the back. So just imagine all 3 physical body chakras, 3, 2, and 1. Right? They have flaps around the round openings. You want those flaps to be smooth so they're not sticking out. So it's just for your energy to come and go. 3, 2, and 1. So again, you want that intention of unblocking to the extent that's healthy and gentle. And you can unblock your auras in front of and behind chakras 3, 2, and 1. Right? So your aura is all here and your aura is there. Right? The more flowing they are, the easier it is for your chakras to do their job. You can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way, can you recycle them? And you can just think of the fronts of chakras 3, 2, and 1 and see, okay, can energy flow in or is it like halfway blocked or something? And just imagine the fronts of chakras 3, 2, and 1. And you could do like sticky gold wax, have the wax stick to all the stuff that's not you there in the front of 3, 2, and 1. And let go, have the wax take all that's not you and give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. So sticky gold wax, the front of chakras 3, 2, and 1. Physical body 3, 2, and 1. Lift out the junk. Angels, here you go. One more time. Sticky gold wax, the fronts of physical body 3, 2, and 1. And lift all that junk out. Angels, here you go. And go ahead and repair and unblock. You can remind yourself these chakras are just for me. And you want to unblock to the extent that's healthy and gentle for you to do right now. And your legs are super useful, especially for being present in your lower chakras. So you bring up earth energy. Let's see my beautiful foot diagram there. That always cracks me up. Let's move the foot over here. So you can imagine the bottom of your feet and unblock both your kidney 1 chakra right there. The smaller dot is kidney 1. Smaller dot right there. Sorry. Right there. And then the bigger dot is your foot chakra, your main foot chakra. So your main foot chakra brings up earth energy, red earth energy all the way up your leg into the front of your first chakra. And then it goes out the back of your first chakra and back down to the core of the earth. So through your legs, into your physical first chakra, back, out the back, down to the core of the earth, right? So unblock your legs. You can unblock your auras around your legs too. You can heal your astral body legs a little bit. Unblock them. So just take a few deep breaths as we wrap up. Be present in your arms and your legs and your toes and your fingers. You say, angels, can you please help me to have forward momentum with my growth? Angels, can you help me have healthy and gentle growth? Angels, can you help me with my emotional wellness? Angels, can you help me with my peace of mind? And with each of these, you can imagine your angels giving you a present that specifically helps with that quality that you're asking them about. Angels, can you help me to have helpful realizations? Deep breath. All right. So that's a healing. Good job. Woo, 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 woo. So I guess I'll leave up the foot image in case it inspires anybody during the break. Maybe you can give yourself a foot rub if you want. Lots of important meridians, either begin or end in your feet, just like in your hands. And around your eyes. Alrighty, so yeah, so I'll get rid of the camera while I am away, and I'll be right back. And we can resume and have a little post-healing chat on energy healing topics. If you have a comment or a follow-up question about something I said in this live stream, or about some of the themes or techniques that we did today, you can feel free to post that. And if it's getting a little long on time, I'll prioritize the comments from newbies as usual. But if I don't get to your comment, you can always post it under any video, and eventually I'll get to it and post a video comment, a video reply to your, a comment reply to your comment. All right. Break time. Let's see. Hello, hello. I'm back. So I'm gonna do a couple stretches for a moment. You can do your own stretches if you wish, and then we'll have our little chat. Hello, hello, hello. I hope your break was sparkly and enjoyable. Mine was. Right, my hair is very unrepressed at the moment. Alrighty, so I'm gonna check chat comments. Alrighty, make sure I see all the comments. Oh, if you have not yet, please consider giving this live stream a thumbs up, and or later, if you're watching as a video, please give it a thumbs up. It does help a lot. All right, let's see. Someone says, I was feeling blobby, slow, and tired. My front meridians were blocked, as was my grounding. Both things cleared before and during this live stream. It was tough, though. Went for a walk. So tired, though. Well, I'm glad it cleared. And good job for going on a walk. That's nice. I thought you were going to continue that, but that's it. That's your comment. So thanks for the feedback. I don't know if you're still tired, though, because I think that comment you made quite early in the live stream. So hope you're not tired anymore. Although it is pretty late at night for you. You're on the East Coast, I think. Canada. Ontario, Canada. Someone says, hi, Janet, joining late as I was teaching my dad how to do the triple earth energy soaks, tricolor earth energy soaks. Yeah, I taught him by making him do it with me. He said he will start from today. Fingers crossed he continues it. That's nice. He said he can see only gold and then black and white. Well, you tell him he's lucky, because at first all I could see was black. I had to buy things that were shiny gold and then close my eyes and try to imagine it. I was like really blocked about imagining metallic gold. All I saw was black everywhere when I tried to look at my space. It's like formless black, you know, which obviously I got better over time, but that's impressive that as such a newbie, he can see gold at all, and then black and white. That's still kind of cool. which reminded me of my early days of learning these concepts. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, you tell him if he can already see gold, that's nice. It's a good sign. Tell him gold is very powerful healing energy vibration. So that's good for him. I mean, you can use gold energy without being able to visualize. You just use your intention, but it is more validating if you can imagine it too. It's nice. Someone says, thank you, Janet. The cord clearing and core issues work were my favorite parts. Felt the core issues work very subtly, but it's pleasant. Yeah. I've been feeling a little stuck about new job stuff. I've been applying pretty frequently, still no interviews, and also feeling unmotivated at my current job. Feels like I'm not moving fast enough on my job/move path and maybe not applying to the right jobs. Am I reading that right? Yeah, I think there is something wrong about it's like, here are the jobs you're meant to get and here are the jobs you're applying for. It's like you have some kind of a block about realizing the jobs that sort of move you forward in the whole move, move cross country and get a new job type vibe. It does look like, yeah, you're not applying for the right kind of jobs. So maybe the colored ball exercise that we did today could be nice with that for helpful realizations. Actually, maybe both of the colored ball exercises. The other one for unrepressing energy of yours, because that could be part of it too. You just have too much repression, so you're not open to the knowledge of what the new jobs would be. So yeah, I think you're on track with kind of realizing what you need to tweak. I agree with your read on it. So this is, thank you, Janet. I enjoyed the happy ending happy ending. Imagine receiving presents from angels. Yeah, I always like that because it's so cool. Like, I mean, like if you ask your angels to help with creativity, I mean, they could give you a scarf that's a certain color that you wear and it's energy, or they could give you, something that it's like, it looks like gloves, but then you put it on and it just kind of melts into your hands and your fingers. And it's just helps strengthen the flow there. You never know, it's just nice. Gifts from angels are nice. Angels, can you give me a gift to help me sleep well? And then you imagine it visually as they're giving it to you. I mean, you don't have to imagine it visually, but I really like the poetry of that, It's nice. From what we asked with theme related, simple techniques on clearing. And I too try to read daily patterns and do steps clearing. Cool. Then you continue. When I read I'm going to be drinking a protein shake, just so you know. It's really late at night and it takes a lot out of me to do the healing. So I don't in general like people that eat in a video, but usually it's like if it's a 10-minute video and they're sitting there eating a bag of chips that they probably could have eaten after the 10-minute video, but this is a 3-hour live stream, so I hope you forgive me. helps me. So this is right. When I read my presence, I may see certain people or areas of my energy blocked up. I am more aware of groundings and creative rings during the day. With angel help, I work other tech, but the presence is still not strong. Well, I mean, your angels say your ability to read how present you are is not bad. It's just maybe you need to be more creative and find a way that's easier for you. Like maybe reading, oh, I'm in 7 through 2, but not 1, or doing the numerical intuition isn't the easiest for you, because reading yourself is more advanced than just reading other people, especially other people that don't mean a lot to you. Like, for example, you could read, like, pick some B-level celebrity that's not that famous, and say, angels, help me do this respectfully, but you read how present that person is right now. Like, not somebody big and famous, or like a big powerful politician, because there'd be a lot of invasive energy around that, and so you really have to have your safety when you look at figures like that. But say just somebody in a movie that you liked, who's not just the biggest celebrity in the world, and just see, well, how present are they right now, and just kind of notice a couple of things. Just say, angels, help me do this respectfully, and just have your screen and just watch a movie of how present they are right now. And then so that's like your warm-up, and then maybe read somebody who means more to you, like some friend of yours or relative. How present are they right now? But read it in a way that you're not interacting with them, you're just watching the movie, and just notice what you notice about how present they are. And then and so that's like your warm-up. And then read yourself, just watch a movie of yourself, maybe like not at the moment, but maybe like an hour ago. How present were you when you woke up? How present were you an hour after you woke up? How present are you right now? So you kind of like ease into it. You can imagine it like because you have your astral body and then your physical body, right? So you can imagine your physical body kind of like it's like you're putting a suit on, with arms and legs and everything, and you're your spirit, so do you have your arms fully in your physical arms? Do you have your legs fully in your physical legs? Are you kind of out more of one leg, or like, is it like that your astral legs are sitting on top of your physical legs? So just notice little things, kind of ease into it. Don't expect like, oh, perfect, oh my God, I can see everything at once. I mean, even when I read myself, even when I'm kind of on a roll, it's easier for me to look at like a certain aspect at a time, like creative rings, or second chakra, or fifth, fourth, and third chakras, rather than like, oh, a view of all things at once, blah 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 blah. So I mean, there are plenty of pro readers, who don't even try to read themselves, which in my experience, in my opinion, is really unsafe, because then you don't know how you're getting screwed. And so then you become unsafe personally as you work with more and more people, because working with people in a pro level is pretty high risk. You're going to get a lot of invasive energies from the clients coming at you, plus just your normal invasive energies you would have just for being you. So not reading yourself as a pro reader is super, in my opinion, pretty dangerous. You gotta learn how to clean yourself out thoroughly, no matter how you do it. If it's, maybe you've decided to give up on your own clairvoyance reading yourself, but do it in 5 other ways that are thorough, whatever. But I'm just saying, reading yourself clairvoyantly is ease into it. Be creative with it. Be like, well, I could see it this way, but not that way yet. And just, keep working it. Hope that helps. Someone says, thank you so much, Janet. During the healing, I was feeling pretty scattered. I feel like I've been been 40% here, and the other 60% of myself refuses to come back. Feels like I'm going through a depressive, unmotivated phase. Okay, well, I don't think you're validating yourself enough, because how many people in the world are only 40% here, and yet they know, oh, I think I'm only 40% here, right? Like you're 90% towards the fix just with that level of awareness that you have. And I think you should validate the level of non-judgment that you have in order to be aware of that. Because a lot of my protein shake is pretty grainy. Because a lot of people, you know, they would have guilt or shame about not being present, you know, because they heard from Janet or, you know, some spiritual thing, you're supposed to be present. So they don't want to know that they're not present. So they'll be like, oh, I'm present. Yeah. You know, and they literally believe it just because they're afraid to see the reality of it. So I think you deserve a little, you know, gold glitter around just for that level of awareness that you have. Because that's 90% of it, like I said. So the other 10% is just, you know, that heal far off parts of you. That could be a nice way to approach it. And just imagine the parts of you that don't want to come back, and just give them healings, and just be like, hey, you don't have to come back, you know, but just give them enough healings. Most likely, you know, big parts of them will come back as they get healed, because they're overwhelmed and they're fed up, and that's why they've gone off. These parts of you. So hope that makes sense. And if you have a follow-up question on that, let me know. Excuse me. And I think, too, your depressive, unmotivated phase, it's different, like I said, because you have that awareness. And I think that, I mean, there's depression where you're just flatlining. You know, you don't know what you want. You don't know who you are. You don't care. You hate the world. You know, everything sucks, right? That's one level of depression. But I think there's another level where you might realize that what kept you going before isn't enough anymore. Like what motivated you to get through the day just isn't enough. Like basically you want to be a deeper person than you have been in the last, say, 2 decades, you know? And so you need to kind of dig deeper and realize, like, okay, well, what matters to me? You know, what qualities matter? You know, is it innocence? Is it playfulness? Is it, you know, what is it? And you don't have to like write a PhD thesis on it, but just figure out like, okay, I think this vibration of pink, my energy at pink is what I want, you know, more of, or I want more innocence, or I want more, I want to feel like I'm okay, that I'm enough. You know, I want to accept myself, you know, and that can be a big deal. You know, plenty of people go through their entire adult lives with very little self-acceptance, and just a lot of medication and a lot of makeup and, you know, a lot of facades and a lot of, you know, buying things to impress the Joneses. So I think your crisis is more of a, you know, spiritually meaningful one, where you're just realizing that that you need to infuse more meaning into your daily life than you have had in a while, which is a great realization. You know, and it's, you know, I would say just start small. You know, pick one quality that you think is cool. You know, maybe, and sometimes you can see that quality in other people. So like if you admire me, what's one quality in me that you see that you admire? You know, or you admire, you know, some gymnast or some actress. What's one quality that you feel that they have that you admire? You know, but break it down to something simple, you know, like innocence, confidence, self-love, self-acceptance, you know, something that is workable, you know, and then you can just give yourself energy healing flowers of that quality every day. You know, think of like, well, what color clothing would help me? You know, what color shirt do I want to wear today that will help me with that? You know, like just give yourself the meaning that you have been missing. So I hope that makes sense. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. No, I don't think I did. Okay, that's good. La, 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 la. Someone says, what else can I add to the freestyling? Oh. Well, the freestyling, you're supposed to do that, not me. If I tell you how to freestyle, then it's not freestyling, right? The whole point of freestyling is you're like, what the fuck do I feel like? And that's what you do. So you have to feel like something and do it. That's like, Janet, tell me how to be original. Tell me what original thoughts I should think. So, yeah, you have to make that shit up yourself. I mean, you could just think of all the themes that we've done and what one that you liked especially, or there was a technique that you like especially. That's the nature of freestyling, is you pick something, you know? So I hope that makes sense. Somebody says, thanks for your help. You're welcome. It seems some intrusive, which I would call invasive beings, are attached to energy blocks. Yes. But they use shielding to prevent removal. I don't think so. But not in my experience. But if you're experiencing that, you know, that's what you're experiencing. But for me, it's like, there's no such thing as shielding so they can't be removed. I mean, there could be that you have an agreement with them, or there could be something larger that you're just not aware of that is going on. Like, for example, those far off invasive beings that can send whole entire massive groups of beings towards you. And you're just thinking of one of those beings and you're like, well, it's impossible to clear that one, or it's impossible to clear all these guys. Well, that's because the far off one is sending all of them. So it's something that you're not quite understanding, in my opinion. If you think that an invasive being that's corded to an energy block of yours cannot be removed and cannot be recycled, there's something else going on. Like, most likely an agreement that you haven't cleared yet. Or that being is really like a mirage, and there's a far off being that's just kind of running the show that you're not even aware of. And so you could say to your angels, can you recycle anything that's connected at all to this, to whatever's cording this block? You know, so that would kind of cover the far off thing that you're not seeing. But yeah, so in my experience, that's what it is. There's some other system you're not understanding that's going on. So let's see. Can you tell me, is that the case? Or is it personality parts preventing the removal? Personality parts preventing removal. Personality parts preventing the removal doesn't really make quite sense to me. I think you mean like, okay, so there's maybe a part of you that is stuck in shame, that feels like you should be punished, maybe. And so you're just not done suffering because you feel so awful about something that you did in a past life. That could be, yeah. She could heal those parts of you that aren't open to getting relief. Yeah. That could be something that you work for a bit and see if you get results on that. So yeah, a stuck part of you that is you know, stuck in shame or self-punishment. Yeah, that's something you could work. Someone says, oh, you're talking about the fatigue that you commented on earlier in the chat. Now you're saying, I'm less tired. I have good karma window damage, some rips in my aura layer side areas. I think I have energy blocks being corded by my mom. A good sleep, astral work with my angels will solve most of this. Energy blocks, 6th and 5th chakras being corded by mum. Let's see. Yeah, fifth good karma window, 7th and 6th good karma windows are intact, no damage. 5th good karma window and 4th good karma window from the left lower side, like here, I have damage. 3rd good karma window, yeah, it has cracks sort of all over. 2nd good karma window seems solid. 1st good karma window seems solid. So yeah, 5, 4, 3 good karma windows are still have some damage, yes. So you could work those. Now what else did you say? Rips in aura layers in the sides. I don't see many. I think they're pretty solid. Maybe like top sides, like here. And like top and top sides, I could see that like partial damage, not all the way, but yeah, like halfway whacked out. Some of your auras there. GV's fine, UB's fine. Gallbladder up here, gallbladder meridian, Wei Chi aura. Astral body aura is, yeah, partially damaged. Physical body aura up here is still damaged a little bit. That's interesting. Did it get whacked after we did aura repair, or did it just not fully repair? It did fully repair, and then it got whacked since then. Your sister seems pretty pissed. Yeah, I think your sister's whacking you. I talked to your sister just now. I asked her how she's doing, because sometimes, you know, if you just say, how are you? What's going on? You know, rather than like, hey, stop whacking her, you know? And she said she feels overwhelmed and she doesn't have enough support in her life. And so I said, well, maybe, you know, your angels, you can let your angels help you more. And she's going to work with her angels more right now. So I think for the next couple hours, at least she won't be whacking you. So you can repair that up. I don't think it was your mom. I think it was your sister. Close enough, I suppose. Is she courting some energy blocks? Well, sure. I mean, you know, we always have various people courting energy blocks, I suppose. But yeah, the whacking was your sister. The one that you call your sibling, not your sister. I call my sisters birth sisters, so I understand. Anyway, energy blocks 6th and 5th chakras being corded by your mother. I don't think so. I mean, they're definitely being corded, but I think it's a lot of invasive beings because of the 5th good karma window damage. 6 is blocked in the front. It's more like 6th aura layer in the front. Has like these big energy blocks right there. So I think it's just invasive beings that come through that and then get into the front. I think you mentioned in your sinuses in your surveys. So it's just like some front aura layers are too blocked. So then they don't protect properly. So just unblock here more, you know, about those locks. But yeah, especially 6th layer right there has got some blocks. Oh, right. A lot of times 6th layer blocks like that are that big is you were observing somebody and maybe making some observations, at least telepathically or maybe out loud consciously, that they weren't open to hearing. And so they try to shut down your 6th layer, which is another reason why it's good to just, if you're going to read someone even telepathically, just communicate what they're open to hearing. Because anything more than that, you're just going to get slammed. I was talking to a client recently about her and her spouse, and she makes these very blunt observations about his emotional state while he's upset, which is like, in what world is that going to work out well? And she doesn't see, I think now maybe she read my email and she sees the flaw in that strategy. But I think for years she's been like thinking how unreasonable he is to get upset when she tries to make these blunt corrective advice statements to him while he's upset. Without realizing that really most people would react in a really strong way if you did that. Because, like, say, okay, what observations is a person when they're in a good mood? What are they open to hearing? This many observations. When they're in a bad mood, how many observations are they willing to hear and open to hearing? This many observations, So that when someone's upset is not the time to be blunt and honest with them unless you want your face whacked off. Just saying. But it's understandable. It's easy to get caught in that space of like, but I want to point out to them that they're doing this unnecessarily. I want to point out the error of their ways. Right. Not going to work out so well. Someone says, thanks for the feedback, Janet, about applying for the right jobs. Sitting behind a desk just bums me out. There you go. Ding, 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 ding. Plus, I know I need to make a certain amount of money to live in New York City, so I'm feeling resistant. LOL. I'll work the colored balls technique. I really like the idea of giving yourself the meaning that you're missing, even though that wasn't directed at me. I know that's part of the goodness of these little Q&As, because it's like, the angels get people to ask things that other people want to hear, and it all works out. It all works out nicely. But yeah, I think you may have some like regimented ideas in your mind about what's a respectable job and what's a financially stable job. And sometimes jobs that you're meant to have or don't fit into like what you were brainwashed to grow up believing was a respectable job. Like my job. I was definitely not raised to believe that this is a legitimate job in any way. I'm sure my birth parents consider this like a crazy person's job for sure. Or someone who is like a life failure. Someone who has wasted their college education. So, you might have to, get rid of a lot of social and familial brainwashing from this and past lives in order to really realize like, hey, I just want to be a fucking dog walker, or hey, I want to, have a dog boarding at home dog boarding business, or I want to, whatever. I want to do this or that, or, I want to do Uber or something. I want to blah, blah, blah. For example. All right. Your angels say sometimes you have to be willing to have half the world think that your job is not respectable in order to realize the job that you really have always wanted. You know, you kind of have to stop looking at things through your society or your social group or your socioeconomic group's lenses, you know, and just look with your own soul, you know. Which, yeah, it takes some doing. That person says yes to all the stuff about a respectable job. LOL, totally brainwashed by that. Yeah. Someone says, thank you so much, Janet. This is a job for an entrepreneurial, gifted, intuitive, self-taught person. Oh, my job? You know, when I was growing up, I didn't even know that people did this type of thing in the modern day. I read books with like mages and stuff and readers and stuff, like kids, mystical fiction stuff, which I'm sure my parents didn't really realize what I was reading. Otherwise, they would have said, don't read that. But so I knew that, you know, back then, like whenever this was set, that they had jobs like that, you know, or I imagined that they did, you know, even though I knew technically it was labeled a fiction book, you know, but I did not know that in the modern era, there were jobs like this and, you know, people healing themselves with energy that I didn't even know. Funny. Someone says, I have to go to a funeral. Okay, of an 8-year-old friend. Of an 8-year-old friend? So a friend who's 8 years old or a friend you've had for 8 years old? Exited Earth due to car accident. I don't remember live streams about souls who contract and exit at an early age. Oh, you are talking about an 8-year-older. Is there one? I'll go to it later. No, I mean, people have whatever length of life that they need, you know, like there's a life planning way before, you know, your life starts, and all sorts of factors are considered, you know, and what type of parent you need to learn what you need to learn, and what type of experiences do you need, you know, what type of all sorts of stuff. So like for example, in my last life, I passed away through murder, actually, a home invasion, when I was in my early 40s. But, you know, it was meant to be. Like it was I mean, now I know that, you know, that was it was just planned to be a shorter lifetime. And then, you know, this one was planned, you know, to be longer, because I'm 56 now, so I'm already, you know, 41, 56, so I'm already 15 years older than I was when I passed last time. And my impression is that I have quite a bit more to go in this life, but, you know, I'm not great at reading the future, so who knows, but, you know. So yeah, it's possible that people have planned lives that's only up to 8. I mean, of course, you know, in normal society, normal mainstream society, everyone would think of an 8-year-old passing as a terrible tragedy, and, you know, isn't that horrible, and it was never meant to be. You know, they would never imagine that that would be planned by anybody for any reason. But sometimes shorter lives, you just have to finish up something, and you don't need much more time to finish doing what you were doing. So a lot of times the shorter lives, they're a little bit more extraordinary, because you were already pretty good at something and you just need to do it a little bit longer to like cross your T's and dot your I's and check all your boxes on whatever it was you were working on. So, you know, that expression, only the good die young, you know, it's sort of like sometimes there are great artists or great whatever, you know, that achieve greatness, you know, and pass much younger than the average, because they just, that's the way it was planned. They just didn't need a lot more time. Like there's a basketball player, Kobe Bryant, I guess, and he passed away, you know, and I don't know how old he was, but he was probably maybe 41 or something, if I had to guess. Maybe late 30s, I don't know. But, you know, he had a wife and young kids, and, you know, I think he passed away with one of his daughters in a helicopter accident. And, you know, and his daughter was young. I just, that's the length that they needed to complete what they needed to complete. But it's a good example with him because he was so good at basketball and apparently an all-around nice guy and everything. So he was kind of finishing up a level that he just, you know, it was like he was getting really good and he just needed a little more time, you know, and then now he can have a nice rest and plan what's next, you know, in another life. So, yeah, but I do not recommend reading that for the parents. You know, most people just, they just, you know, the party line is, it's a terrible tragedy, and just leave it at that. You know, of course, the people that, you know, are still living, that cared about that person, you know, they're the ones that have the, you know, a lot to process. You know, grief is usually a lot of leftover grief from past lives, and then a little bit of it is grief from this current experience. But all the unfinished, uncleared leftover grief from past lives is usually what people are feeling. They're feeling like the summation of all that. And so that's why grief feels so massive for a lot of people. But if you can keep releasing, you know, keep unblocking, keep releasing, then it's much more manageable. But yeah, I would not go discussing that in a funeral. Which you probably know. Yeah. That is just for your information. But again, you know, people can get very, you know, deeply offended by some of that kind of information if it's not something they're ready to hear. They can get very, very passionately offended. So just so you know. I would just tell it to people like you. But she crossed over quickly, very quickly. Most people do. So, you know, as soon as you cross over, you feel amazing, and, you know, then you just kind of root for all your loved ones who are still in the lifetime and hope that they get through their grief quickly. All right. Well, that was not a note that I want to end a live stream on, though. Talking about death. So let's see, what do I want to talk about then, so that we don't end on that note? Maybe some nice affirmations. We could do affirmations, some little suggested affirmations. So, I think sometimes with affirmation, you know, with growth, like people think, oh, I should be perfect today, and I know I'm not, and I should be more perfect tomorrow, and I know I won't be, and you know, they get very caught up in that, and they don't. I think with affirmations, try to be realistic. Try to be like, okay, every day I am learning more and more. You know, every day I want to grow and evolve. You know, angels, please help me to be as grateful as I can for all that I have in this lifetime. You know, stuff like that. That's very like where you're at, something positive about where you're at, and, you know, your realistic next step. So I think more and more, the more you accept the reality of how growth works, the faster you can grow. So each day I want to love myself a little more. Each day I want to love and accept myself a little more. I recognize and love my own inner child. I'm grateful. You can think of things you're grateful for that maybe you don't realize normally, you don't think about. Like, I'm grateful that most of my fingers work really well because I do have two different fingers that are injured, and there's an injury right here. But, all 10 worked great for most of my life, and I never really was thankful for that. Which I don't think that's why I injured two of them, but I'm just saying, It's like I have to write differently now because I can't. And sometimes you might notice if I'm healing, like this one will stick out because it doesn't bend comfortably like it used to. Like this one, I can bend really well and I can make a fist and stuff and hold things in my hand, little tiny things. Whereas this one, I can't like crunch the pinky. So, you can't really, things will slip out if you try to carry little things in this hand like that. You got to kind of do it differently. So, if you have working fingers, you could be grateful for that. I'm grateful that I have 10 working fingers. I'm grateful that I have 8 fingers that work really, really well, and every day I want to heal my other 2 fingers more and more and more. I want to love and honor all my fingers for real. Little things like that. What else? Another good affirmation. Well, I think it's a Buddhist thing where they're like, angels, can you bless every sentient being on this planet? I think that's a good one, Like, I mean, of course, invasive beings maybe are sentient, but maybe they don't mean that. Maybe they just mean, plant spirits and animal spirits and people, so maybe just the angels, can you please bless all the beings on this planet? I think they would know that you don't mean invasive beings. So that's nice. Also, there are archangels too. Everyone has personal angels. You have 3 or 4 personal angels at least, and a spirit guide. So you can say, I'm going to let my angels help guide and protect me today. But say angels, so you're careful not to just have some rando spirit, protect you because they'll be invasive, But if you say, I'm going to let my angels help and guide and protect me today and tonight in my sleep, that's nice. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good note. I would like to end on that note. Alrighty. So that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the healing and the live stream. And the final healing in the set will be in 3 days on Wednesday, July 8th, 2026. And because it's a Wednesday, there will be no post-healing chat after the healing, because both my husband and I live stream on Wednesdays. So on Wednesday, no post-healing chat. Okay. And maybe I'll start I will start earlier than I did today for sure, because I have to just be done on Wednesday way before I even started today. So I'll have to clear baggage over that. So yeah, on Wednesday the healing will be earlier and it will end earlier. And usually it's like a good challenge for me. I have to make things very concise, and usually it's a quite good healing because I'm very organized and focused. But anyway, all right, you guys are amazing, and my website and all that is right here. So if you want to check out my website, purchase a set of healings or several for your loved ones and yourself. If you purchase for a newbie who I've never healed before in a group healing, then you get a free set as well. If you purchase a new subscription, which could be a full new subscription just for yourself, or a full subscription, say, that you share between 2 family members. So like, say one sibling gets the triplet sets and the other sibling gets the twin sets every month. That's a new subscription, new shared full sub is what I call it. And you would get 2 free sets at this point because I have a new subscription promotion going on. So if you need me to discuss all that with you in email, just email me. Right there is my email address, janet@jwhealing.com. All right, you're so amazing. Bye. You're the best. Sometimes I don't like when I say bye. It's so high. I don't know why. Does everyone do that? I mean, does all women do that? They go up high when they say bye. Bye. Oh my goodness.